We all have those times in our life where we sit around and complain about being bored because there's nothing to do. So we lie around all day and do nothing. But there's something we can do, and I think it's a great skill to learn, and that is shooting a compound bow. One reason is for the enjoyment, and another reason is to harvest animals to be able to keep meat in your freezer. And before we begin the process, you have to have a target. And set up your target in the direction you'll be shooting. And as you set up your target, make sure you look beyond the target to be able to see what's back there in case you miss the target and your arrow carries. You don't want to hit something and damage it. And now let's go over some of the parts of the bow. First of all, totally aside from the bow is what we call a release. A release consists of a strap that straps to your wrist, this little metal piece with two hooks on the end. Those hooks strap to the string of your bow when you go to shoot it. And then you also have a trigger that locks the hooks and also releases the hooks. So I'll just put this on our wrist like this. It's simple. It just straps right on. And then when you do so, when you have it strapped to your wrist, make sure the metal piece with the hooks is in the palm of your hand, and that the trigger to it is pointing outward away from your body. And so now that we have our release on, let's go over some more of the bow. Another part of it is the arrow, and this is what we shoot. The arrow consists of a shaft, which is this piece here, and then attached to the shaft at the top is some fletching. This helps your arrow fly stable and more consistent and accurate. And on top of there is something called a nock, and the nock actually clips to the string. And then at the end we have the tip, or the target point, which will shoot into the target. And then the arrows go inside something called a quiver. Now this is the quiver, and that's the thing that holds your arrows, so you don't have to worry about the hassle of dealing with loose arrows. And then you also have the main frame of the bow, which is this piece here, and that's what the handle is on, is the main frame. And then also you have something called a stabilizer, which helps you shoot more stable and helps you be able to shoot more accurately. And we also have this sling, which is convenient for keeping the bow onto your wrist and into your hand. And also, part of the bow is we have 3 different strings, 1, 2, 3. And this is the main string of the bow. That's the bow we use to shoot. And attached to those is something called a peep sight. A peep sight is a plastic thing that's intertwined within the string, and it has a little hole through the center of it. And you actually look through that as you shoot the bow. And we'll get more to that in a second. Then we also have the loop, which is in the center of the string. And the loop is what you attach your release to be able to shoot and pull your bow back. And then, as you look down, we have these sights here. And these are the sights that we use. And the higher the pin is the shorter the distance. And so the top pin is a 20-yard pin, and that's what we said we were going to shoot at today. So we're going to be using that top pin. And then this right here above the handle is something called the arrow rest, and that's what you rest your arrow on before you shoot. So now that we know the different pieces of the bow, we're going to shoot it. So now you take your arrow and you lay it on the rest, like so. And then you take the nock and clip it in the middle of the loop onto the main string. And so now you have that. So you have the bow in your left hand, and you pull, and then you hook the release to the loop. And those little hooks on the end will clip on there as you push the trigger forward to lock them into place, and then they won't go anywhere. And keep your finger away from that trigger until you're ready to shoot. So now that we're set up to shoot, we pull the bow back like so, and then we find an anchor point on our face, like on our chin, to be able to shoot steady and be able to shoot consistent. So we have our anchor point on our face, and now our body, we're going to turn our body parallel to the bow, our feet, legs parallel to the bow, and we're going to kind of bend our left elbow out a bit. And then we look through the peep sight, which will line up with your eyes, and we put that 20-yard pin right in the center of that peep sight. And then as you do that, you'll be able to see through it, and then put that pin right on the target. And as it's on the target, you pull the trigger, and your arrow will release, shooting the arrow into the target. And a couple key notes to make is always shoot with an arrow. If you dry fire your bow, it can lead to harm. can break your bow, and it could actually snap pieces off your bow that can come back and hit you, hurting you or even killing you. So never dry fire a bow. There always should be an arrow. And just remember that. But as you continue to shoot, you'll get better. As you continue to shoot at 20 yards, you'll get better and increase in accuracy. And as you do so, just take from the spot you're shooting, just take 10 more paces back and shoot, and use the next pin down, and that'll be the 30-yard pin, and shoot from there as well. And as you continue to progress and get better and better, you can keep stepping back until your pins run out on your bow. And that is how you shoot a compound bow. Like I said, it's good for many, learning to shoot is good for many reasons. One is that you can harvest meat to keep your freezer full. And in those times of need, and your family's hungry, they won't be hungry because you have the meat that is needed to help them survive. And also, it's very fun to shoot. It's just enjoyable, it's peaceful, and it's something that you can do with yourself, or you can go out and compete with others, especially those in your family, which is always fun to do. So now that you know how to shoot a compound bow, remember to use safety when doing so, and as you shoot, make sure people are standing behind you so arrows don't carry and so no one is harmed. So now that you know, go out and enjoy the experience for yourself.